Sasha Campbell. Driving a semi, I take my life in my hands every time I go to a truck stop where no one is wearing a mask. I can't even imagine. What the hell is wrong with people? Seriously, why is this a culture war problem? I'll tell you why, actually. I know why. Because Donald Trump decided to die on this hill. If he had encouraged mask use, we would likely be in a very different situation right now. I don't know why he decided to die on this hill. It's like the hydrochloroquine thing. Why? Why die on this hill? If you really, really want, just say, my advisors told me wrong. They told me hydrochloroquine meant something and it didn't. So now we're looking at remdesivir or whatever other treatments are happening. He didn't have to take the blame in the very, very beginning when he started talking about hydrochloroquine. Just say, my advisors told me wrong. So now I have the facts. Hydrochloroquine is worthless. Let's move on to the next possible treatment. Why did he die on that hill? Why did he make such a stupid mistake like that and quadruple down on it? The same with the masks. Why? Why do that? He's a fucking moron. I swear, there's no other explanation for this. Artemis brain sample. I can't wait to see how much federal tax Don pays after turning assets into enough cash to pay off the loans that we're aware of that are coming due. If he doesn't start paying his loans back soon, they can just repossess shit. They can just walk into his house and fucking take it. I will be interested to see how that plays out. What a monster this guy is, man. Seriously. It's like, I saw a tweet the other day. I forget exactly what it said. It said something like, at this point, the country can be grouped into two categories. Those who saw the con early and those who still don't realize it's a con. It's so fucking sad. It's like the Republican Party was primed and organized in such a way over the past 20 years, 30 even, that it was building into a cult. Nixon was trying to form it into kind of a cult-like system, but I don't feel like Nixon was quite smart enough to know how to do it. Who owns Fox News? Is it Rupert Murdoch? I think Rupert Murdoch met Richard Nixon in the 60s and talked to him, and he was like, oh, TV's not a gimmick, sir. Nixon hated TV appearances. He was like, yeah, I'm so sick of this gimmick. I don't want to make these appearances. Rupert Murdoch met him for the first time. This is before Fox News existed, and he said, TV's not a gimmick. This is where it's going. And he got involved in Nixon's campaign, helping him, and eventually started Fox News. I believe that's who it was, Rupert Murdoch. I could be wrong on that name, but anyway, from that point on, from the creation of Fox News onward, it's always been intended to be a propaganda network. And when the 80s and the 90s televangelists came along and started trying to intertwine religion and politics, Fox News saw it as a perfect opportunity to manipulate people. It's perfect. Religion is the perfect way of getting obedient slaves to do anything you tell them to do. Anything. So Fox News embraced evangelicalism from the 80s and 90s, from Billy Graham and Jerry Falwell Sr. and others. The people really trying to tie the Republican Party to evangelicalism. They were heavily involved in Fox News. And as time went on, from that moment, they started forming it into a cult, the Republican Party. We can thank Rupert Murdoch, the Koch brothers, Billy Graham, and Jerry Falwell Sr. for the fact that the Republican Party at this point in time is a death cult. I say that without a lick of irony. I'm dead serious on this. And all it needed was a charismatic leader to come along and take the reins. That was Donald Trump. He did it. 2016. He wouldn't have succeeded if Fox News and all of the Republican outlets hadn't backed Trump. All the senators and all of the congressmen all came out and started speaking for Trump, in favor of Trump, treating him like he was a hero, like he was a god. I mean, just listen to Rand Paul getting up there on stage with Trump. Listen to how he talks about him. Listen to how Lindsey Graham talks about Donald Trump now, not back then. They made him what he is, and they could just as easily ruin him if they wanted. But they've chosen not to. So, the Republican Party at this point, the party is a cult. Not conservatism, not libertarian values, none of that shit. The Republican Party is a cult.